Yield 5 minutes to Mr. Bob Good, my friend from Virginia.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to all of your witnesses and for your testimony, both written and expressed today. I do want to just start with Ms. Agostin, and I appreciate all the fine work done by CRA, and I appreciate your testimony regarding the current federal spending that is not simply unnecessary, unjustified, unconstitutional, or wasteful borrowing from our kids and grandkids, but it is actually, you made a very compelling case about so much of it that is literally harmful and intended to transform America into a Marxist globalist state, envisioned by the radical left that frankly hates the founders, hates the Constitution, and hates the basic ideals and values that are central to our country. The Limit, Save, Grow Act, or what I like to actually call Shrink Washington, Grow America, will take a meaningful, broad-based fiscal approach to top-line spending cuts, as you know, and some caps, and then some significant target eliminations of pet projects like climate, IRS expansion, COVID spending, and student loans. But I'd like just a few additional thoughts from you on how we would take a razor-sharp scalpel approach to the most egregious and harmful spending via the appropriations process this fall, or really as we work on it now to vote on it in the fall.
Thank you, Congressman Good, and I think you're exactly right. We've done a good job today talking about the financial crisis that is upon us, but there's another equally great crisis facing the American people, and that is the woke and weaponized government that's aimed squarely at them. So insofar as you do deal with the debt limit, you absolutely must maintain the $130 billion in cuts and find that from the woke and weaponized spending. And my advice to you would be look at the Department of Education and HHS, because what is happening to children in this country is the perfect display of what woke and weaponized government is doing to people. And when you send your kid to the public school systems, they have gay porn in the libraries. They have teachers that are asking them are you sure you're a boy or girl today, and changing their pronouns without the parents knowing about it, and then putting them on a path to radical gender affirmation, where you have cross-sex hormones and then eventually genital mutilation. And what that does to a child, and if you listen to the detransitioners, this will give you the perfect insight, is make them a permanent pharmaceutical patient for the rest of their life. There's no way for them to ethically consent to any of this, and this is being done in the schools without the parents' knowledge. This is why you have $3 million to Montessori schools to train 3-year-olds on anti-racism. Why would you need to tell a 3-year-old something about the color of their skin and divide them based oppressor versus oppressed, so that you put them on this path to adopting the woke ideology? And by the time they get to college, they can't even tell you what a woman is. So yeah, look at the Department of Education and HHS.
Well said, and you could expound so much more, as you know. And this is all with everyone's tax dollars, irrespective of their beliefs on it. The liberal progressive Bill Maher said when he was a child he wanted to be a pirate. He's glad no one poked out his eye and cut his leg off. And it's unbelievable we let children diagnose themselves and then adults perform this surgery to permanently maim and harm them accordingly. Ms. Gressler, President Biden has tried to say, hey, we're going to default if we don't raise the debt limit. I would just like your thoughts on the veracity of that claim that we would have a default. Isn't it true that it would just force prioritization of payments, and we'd only have a default if Treasury chose to have a default?
Yes, it's true that Biden and Treasury have the authority to prioritize those debt payments first to prevent a default.
Yeah, I led a letter with 10 of my colleagues to Secretary Yellen a couple of months back asking her, when are you going to run out of extraordinary measures? What's your plan to ensure we don't have a default, and how will you prioritize payments? And of course, she would not answer any of those questions because it defeats the narrative. But isn't Biden really afraid of defaulting on his radical agenda and his priorities of climate extremism, the Green Raw Deal, perpetuating COVID spending, expanding and empowering the IRS, promoting, again, the things that Ms. Agostin has spoken to so eloquently this morning?
Yes, I think that it just points out that you would have to make those difficult choices. And when you look at things like one of the president's own actions that added $5.4 billion in additional costs to taxpayers for taxpayer-financed select private union pension plans, which, by the way, sent $36 billion to one single union pension plan on January 12th, 5 days before the U.S. hit the debt limit. And so you can see the types of things that might have to be at least delayed.
Well, thank you. My time is out, but I will tell Ms. Agostin, we've got 500 targeted cuts that my colleagues and I have sponsored already to deal with the appropriations process. And the Dems, Ms. Gressler, will not, they will end up signing and agreeing to limit, save, grow because it would force $100 billion a month in cuts rather than the $131 billion over the course of a year. And I yield back, Mr. Chairman.